Many seniors believe a stroke strikes without warning, but in reality, what appears sudden is often the result of quiet changes building over time. Circulation tightens, signals weaken, and the nervous system slowly falls out of balance long before anything dramatic occurs. Because according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, stroke remains one of the leading causes of long-term disability in older adults, with nearly 800,000 strokes occurring each year in the United States alone, of which many could have been prevented, which makes this episode so important. So, welcome back to the Senior Health Podcast. Today, Japan's oldest doctor will share 3 simple tricks that support the nervous system and why practicing them daily may help reduce stroke risk even before the danger happens. Doctor, are you ready to begin this episode? Yes, John, and I am thankful we are having this conversation because the body often speaks in whispers long before it cries for help. So, in today's episode, I will share the top 3 simple practices that support the nervous system, explain why it works, and show how calm signals can replace fear with clarity. And I invite listeners to write one in the comments if stroke risk has ever crossed their mind, because no one is facing these concerns alone. That resonates strongly. Many seniors listening have experienced moments of lightheadedness, tension, or an uneasy sense that something felt off and then chose to move on without giving it weight. And that quiet moment of dismissal is often where the real risk begins to grow. This reminds me of a patient who once told me, "I thought I was just tired. No pain, no collapse, just a quiet imbalance." By the time he reached care, time had already been lost. So, doctor, why does early timing matter so much when it comes to stroke risk? It matters because the brain has very little tolerance for disrupted blood flow. When circulation falters, even briefly, brain cells begin to lose function long before obvious symptoms appear. What makes this especially dangerous is that the nervous system often signals distress quietly, not urgently, which delays action. That early silence is what troubles me most. Seniors often tell me they waited because it did not feel serious enough yet. That waiting you describe is very human, and I hear it often in seniors late in life. The body rarely fails all at once. It drifts, hesitates, and loses rhythm long before collapse. Stroke risk often grows in that quiet space where signals soften rather than shout. That really reframes it for me, because many seniors are listening for pain or drama, not subtle change. They assume serious trouble would feel obvious, and when it does not, they keep moving. Yes, and this is why focusing only on blood vessels can be misleading. Flow is not just about pipes. It is guided by signals that tell vessels when to tighten or relax. When those signals lose coordination, circulation suffers, even if the vessels look fine. So what you are saying is that the problem can begin upstream before numbers like pressure ever rise. Exactly. And this is where the nervous system quietly enters the story. It acts like a conductor, setting tempo for the heart, the vessels, and even breathing. When that conductor becomes erratic with age, stress, or fatigue, the entire system loses harmony. I hear that a lot in seniors who feel off but cannot explain why. Yes, and when harmony fades, the body often compensates quietly, rather than sounding an alarm. This is why early stroke risk is frequently missed. Not ignored out of neglect, but out of confusion. There is a way to recognize this earlier, but it requires listening beyond the blood itself. That makes me pause because it suggests prevention starts much earlier than most seniors realize. How do we begin to understand those signals before circulation visibly breaks down? We begin by listening to rhythm rather than symptoms. Blood pressure and flow are not managed only by vessel strength, but by signals that tell those vessels when to open and soften. Those signals come from the nervous system long before numbers begin to rise. That feels important because most seniors are taught to watch readings, not sensations. Of course, because measurements matter, but they are often the last thing to change. The nervous system is constantly adjusting heart rate, vessel tone, and circulation to match what it believes the body needs. When that guidance becomes strained, flow can narrow quietly without pain. That helps explain why some seniors say they felt tense or unsettled for weeks beforehand. They sensed something shifting but had no language for it. Yes, And that tension often comes from the nervous system staying guarded too long. Everyday stress, poor sleep, dehydration, or shallow breathing can keep vessels slightly tight, and over time, circulation loses flexibility. When urgency becomes the norm, blood pressure turns reactive, which is why prevention restores calm signals instead of forcing change. Calm is not indulgence, it is instruction. And when safety is sensed, vessels open and flow steadies naturally. That really shifts how I think about prevention. It sounds like the body is asking for guidance, not correction. Yes, and once seniors understand this, they stop waiting for warning signs. They begin working with the nervous system instead of chasing symptoms. The first step is surprisingly simple, but it must be done with intention. That leaves me curious because simplicity often hides depth. So, what's the first technique seniors can begin with to support that nervous system balance? We will begin with the tongue because it is one of the body's most underestimated messengers. It sits near critical nerve pathways that influence heart rhythm, vessel tone, and the sense of internal safety. When its position is intentional, it sends a calming signal long before the mind is aware of it. That's fascinating. It sounds like the details really matter here. Exactly. And the key here is placement, not pressure. I want seniors to picture the roof of the mouth like a small ceiling with a gentle ridge right behind the top front teeth. You are not pushing the tongue forward into the teeth. You are placing it just behind them on snorts, that soft ridge like resting a fingertip on a table. That visual already makes it clearer. So, how can seniors actually find that spot? Let's slow it down and keep it very gentle. First, let the lips close softly and allow the jaw to relax almost as if you are about to fall asleep. The teeth do not need to be touched. Then place only the tip of the tongue on that small ridge behind the top front teeth. Not the whole tongue, just the tip. If the jaw tightens or strains, ease off until it feels light and easy. That's an important detail. Many seniors will press the whole tongue and tense up. Exactly. And tension is the opposite of what we want here. Keep the tip of the tongue resting there lightly, almost like a bookmark holding a page. Then breathe in through your nose for a slow count of 3. As you breathe out, let the air leave even more slowly through softly parted lips, like you are gently fogging a mirror without making a sound. So the exhale is longer than the inhale. That becomes the rhythm. Yes. And that rhythm is the message. You simply repeat that cycle 3 times. Most seniors will finish in about 10 to 15 seconds. Then relax the tongue and swallow normally. If you ever feel dizzy, you stop, return to normal breathing, and you try again later sitting down. This must feel safe. All right, doctor. So, how do you explain what it's doing inside the body in a way that feels concrete? When the tongue rests gently and the exhale slows, the vagus nerve and brain stem shift toward calm. That calm reduces sudden spikes in heart rate, vessel tightening, and blood pressure that raise stroke risk over time. It does not replace medical care, but it helps move the body out of constant internal alarm, which is where prevention often begins. That's the clearest I've heard it. It gives seniors an exact target, exact timing, and a reason to trust it. And one more visual to make it foolproof. If the tongue feels like it is pushing, it is wrong. If it feels like it is resting, it is right. The goal is a calm signal, not a strong signal. That distinction really helps. I hear seniors say they feel calmer for a moment, and then it slips away. It sounds like the body is still waiting for something more. Yes, and this is where many seniors feel discouraged. They may calm themselves internally, but without reassurance from the outside. The nervous system slips back into alertness. Calm needs reinforcement, not intention alone, because the body is always listening for signs of safety through contact with the world. That really resonates, especially for seniors who spend more time alone or sitting quietly. Now, it sounds like the body might calm briefly, but never fully settles. Exactly. And that is not a failure. The nervous system evolved to read safety through the skin, through gentle pressure, through touch that says nothing is wrong. When those signals are missing, The body stays slightly guarded, even in peaceful moments. That guard can slowly tighten circulation without anyone noticing. I hear that a lot in seniors who say they relax, but never feel fully at ease. And it is important to say this gently. Many seniors are understandably cautious about techniques involving the neck or strong manipulation. That caution is wise, not limiting. Safety and softness are exactly what the nervous system responds to best. That helps ease a lot of concern already. There is also a place on the body where reassurance comes from the outside, not within. It sits very close to the surface, and when touched gently, it speaks directly to calm, without risk. That leaves me wondering what the next technique is and where seniors can turn. That feels truly safe. Yes. And this is where the body offers us a very kind entry point. The ear is one of the safest and most accessible gateways to the nervous system. It carries rich sensory pathways that speak directly to calming centers in the brain. That's interesting because the ear feels so familiar and non-threatening. How would you guide seniors to do this in a way that feels safe and easy to follow? Yes. Let me walk them through it gently. First, sit comfortably and let the shoulders drop. The face should feel soft, not alert. Now bring one hand up to one ear and use the pad of your index finger, not the nail. That already sounds less intimidating. Yes, and it should feel that way. Now gently find the tragus, the small flap at the front of the ear. Rest your finger there and apply very light pressure for about 5 seconds. Then add small, slow circles, as if you were softly pressing and warming the area at the same time. Keep those gentle circles going for about 10 seconds while breathing calmly through your nose. There should be no pushing and no pulling. So there is no pulling or stretching at all. Just pressing exactly nothing is being pulled. And after that, let your finger move slightly into the concha, the small bowl just outside the ear canal. Apply the same light pressure there for about 5 seconds. And again, make slow, gentle circles about the size of a pea. Continue doing this for around 10 seconds, keeping the touch soft as if you are warming the skin rather than trying to massage deeply. That feels very approachable for seniors. Simple pressuring and adding some circling movements. Yes. And then we simply switch sides and repeat. If anything feels tender, you ease up. If you feel light-aided, you stop and do this seated only. This should never hurt. It should feel soothing and reassuring. And how does this connect to holding calm and reducing risk? It's quite simple. This gentle contact gives the nervous system a clear signal of safety from the outside. That signal helps the body ease vessel tension and steady circulation, instead of staying on high alert. Over time, fewer stress surges mean healthier flow, which lowers the conditions that increase stroke risk. That makes sense. So once seniors know how to do this safely, what is the next trick that helps the body hold on to calm instead of letting it slip away? Well, the next trick begins with breath, because it is the rhythm the nervous system trusts most. Breathing is not just oxygen moving in and out. It is a timing signal that tells the brain whether it is safe to stay calm. That feels intuitive because breath is always there even when everything else feels uncertain. So how do seniors actually do this? Let's keep this very simple and gentle. Start by sitting comfortably with your back supported and rest one hand on your lower belly so you can feel the breath move. Then breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 3. Letting the breath stay low and easy without lifting the shoulders. That already feels calmer than most breathing advice because it is not forcing anything. Exactly. And this is where the breath really does its work. Gently purse your lips as if you're cooling a spoon of soup, and let the air flow out quietly for a slow count of 5. There's no need to make a sound. Just allow the exhale to be longer than the inhale. Smooth, easy, and unforced. That reminds me of seniors who breathe a lot but still feel tense because the breath never really slows. Yes. And this is why we repeat it as a rhythm, not as something to complete. You simply follow a gentle 3-second inhale and a longer 5-second exhale for about 5 rounds, which usually takes around a minute. If at any point you feel light-aided, shorten the counts, or return to normal breathing. This should always feel calm, steady, and safe. I hear that a lot in seniors. They worry they have to do it perfectly, or they are failing. Exactly. And perfection is not the goal. The goal is a steady pattern the nervous system can recognize. When the exhale stays longer, the body starts to release vessel tension and the heart rhythm steadies. That makes sense. It is almost like the body finally gets permission to stop bracing. Yes. And this is how seniors can gently bring everything together. Keep the tongue resting lightly in its calm position. And as you breathe, add the ear contact on one side without rushing. The tongue steadies the inside. The ear offers reassurance from the outside, and the longer exhale links them. So the sense of calm can settle and stay. That really connects the pieces for me, and it feels doable. And once the breath settles into that role, something shifts quietly. The nervous system stops swinging between tension and release and begins to hold steadiness a little longer. That is when seniors stop feeling like calm is something that comes and goes and start sensing that it is actually available to them. That makes me reflect on how these pieces might work together rather than alone. How do the tongue, the ear, and this quiet breathing start to support one another when they are combined? First, we should see them as parts of one conversation, not three separate actions. The tongue offers an internal anchor. The ear provides external reassurance, and the breath sets the rhythm they share. When all three are present, the nervous system receives a clear and consistent message of safety. That framing really helps because it stops seniors from feeling like they have to juggle steps. It sounds more like a gentle sequence than a routine. Of course, and that simplicity is on purpose. Nothing here has to be forced. When the tongue, the ear, and the breath come together, the body falls into step on its own, and that is when calm stops slipping away. For most seniors, practicing this sequence once or twice a day is enough, especially snorts in the morning or before rest, and even a single round during moments of tension can gently bring the system back into balance. It feels reassuring to hear that the body knows what to do once the signals align. And when alignment happens, something meaningful shifts. The nervous system stops scanning for danger and begins to settle into trust. This is where prevention becomes less about effort and more about awareness. That feels important. So before we close, what is the one thing you hope stays with seniors as they step into the days ahead? I hope seniors remember that calm is not something they must chase, but something they can return to quietly and daily with a kindness toward themselves. As this year closes, I want them to trust that small, gentle care is enough to carry them safely into what comes next. That's beautifully said, and it feels like the right way to end this final conversation of the year. To everyone listening, thank you for spending this time with us. And if this episode helped, take a moment to like it, leave a comment, and subscribe. We will see you in the new year. Oh, and watch this next video right now. Yes, please, we've picked this one especially for you.